Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And as I mentioned in the daily financial news, today is special. We get the three amigos together around 12:30 or so, and we just I don't know if you can tell, but we all like each other and we have a pretty good time. So enjoy the conversation, laugh with us, get your ab workout in, and let's have some fun. So how you doing, Dion?
Howdy, guys. I'm doing great. Ready for round one.
Round one. And yourself, Matt, how are you?
Excited to make another appearance in the ugliest threesome on the internet.
I think it was Dion that brought that up the first time. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. And it's true.
Sadly, I got to own that one.
Oh, it was you? Oh,
Yeah,
good.
sorry.
Well, hey, whoever had it was great. Yeah, I remember losing it the first time that came out. I was like, oh my God, what did he just say? But anyways, we're going to do three important topics. Well, first one's going to be a student from the course. I know Dion has responded. Matt, you've probably at least seen this one. So what I'm going to do is I cut and paste it, put it in PowerPoint, stripped out names. I'm going to read it because my podcast listens have exploded. Podcast listens are now more than YouTube. Go figure, right? 65,000 podcast listens last week, where we had like 58,000 YouTube. So we're helping 100,000 people a week, guys. It's pretty cool.
I'm sure it's not a commentary on how we look.
No, it's our sexy voices, I am sure.
The faces for radio.
Yeah, faces for radio. So let me, I should be able to do this still. Yep. So let me bring this up. Again, I will read it and then I want us to talk about it. Can I make this bigger? Let's see. Okay. So make that go away. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm going to read this first, then we can sort of talk about it. Sorry for the long post, but I honestly have no idea what to do. I have a single family home, my old primary home, that I've owned for 25 years. I took equity out to buy other properties. The tenants I have now are being evicted. Great for 4 years, now separating, and has been a nightmare. My question is, it's about 900 square feet. And since I purchased it 25 years or so ago, I've never had to replace the water tank or furnace or central air. It's going to need a roof soon and a new bathroom, and the kitchen is dated, but really good condition. Probably going to need a paint job, new carpet or flooring. I could list it for $125. I paid $65 and rented for $11.50 and $12.50 over the last 7 years. Now with the new loan, I profit about $100 each month. I'm thinking at this point I should get out and sell, but I'm not sure. I'm currently in the process of refinancing it and getting out about 16 to 20K that I could put back into it and have some reserves, and then I'd be good again for a long time. And then I'd be good. See, now you know why I don't read my book, because I read horribly. No clue what to do. Any help would be appreciated. I wish I could actually talk to someone so they can understand everything I have going on. That would also help in making this hard decision. Again, sorry for the long post. So Matt, why don't we go to you first? This might be the first time you're seeing it. What kind of jumps out at you?
I mean, really three things, Mike. I think the three things is he's piggy banked it a bit.
Yep.
You know, he's definitely used it as not only as a cash cow, but also as an equity cow.
Yep.
You know, pulled out multiple pulls. You know, definitely gotten the benefit of good rents. And I think also the focus here on, it being dated, I think largely isn't a huge issue because he was still getting those rents with it being dated, right? And so all of a sudden overnight, that isn't a property that's not worth having.
Right.
So I think the challenging thing is that I don't know what else is going on, but I do know that, I mean, you haven't done a boiler, a water heater, or a roof in 25 years.
Yeah. That's coming due.
That's the maintenance pony is about to show up and needs to get paid.
Yeah.
So I think, I understand why there's a little bit of a quandary. But I think in this particular case, I think he definitely has a lot going on. I think that there's a lot of things that he could do. I see why he might want to sell it. I see why he might want to do that work with that 20K that he's pulling out, because quite frankly, that 20K that he's pulling out is probably enough to do all those things.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Very cool. And Dion, you have, I think you even responded, but maybe I'm wrong. But what do you think about this one?
Well, I want to be really sensitive and not tell somebody they're making mistakes, because this is somebody who put themselves out there.
Yeah.
They're in the group trying to educate themselves, trying to become a better investor. It's awesome that they did this. It's great that they included the
Agreed.
details that they have.
Mhm.
So what I'll do is I'll say what I would do different. And I completely understand that having this for this many years meant that you started investing before there were things like YouTube University,
Yeah.
audiobooks, and ways to educate yourself, where the things that we put out every day as content seems kind of second nature to us.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that means he bought this in 97.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be as sensitive as
96.
possible.
Yeah. Geez. Yeah.
The error here is when you structure a real estate business, what the problem I see is when he says, I profit about 100 to 150 bucks each month. Well, that's cash flow.
Yeah.
Where's the money in the gross rents that's being set aside for CapEx, vacancy, repairs, and maintenance?
Yeah.
So these are maintenance items that should have been taken care of through the years. Never had to replace the water, never had to replace the central. Well, water heaters have a shelf life. If you don't replace them at some point, you're replacing them and repairing damage.
Right.
So you have
Yeah.
choices on when to do these kind of things.
Yeah.
So
Amen to that.
putting in a spreadsheet of it's out of reach. I have a book that lists out every appliance that was replaced, every time a roof was done, so I could track the timeline on when I'm going to need to do those things again.
Yeah.
So thinking I need to refinance to pull money out to do maintenance is a huge mistake. There should have been money set aside in the numbers you run when you purchase a property.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get this. This
Yeah,
is in the 90s. This kind of information didn't really exist unless you read a lot of actual books of people, and there
Mhm.
weren't really that many good ones out at that point
No.
in time. So my hope is from this point going forward, we look at this as a business. If you sell it and you put that money to work somewhere else that you take out, whatever asset you buy, you need to figure out what it takes to protect that asset. And when it comes to real estate, it takes a reserve account
Mhm.
that you're building from a percentage of gross rents. And for me, it's 10% gross rents and for CapEx and maintenance.
Yeah.
And then I do 5% for vacancy, even though I've never had one.
Mhm.
But that way there's money going there so that if I ever do have a vacancy or even if tenant turnover, the new flooring that you mentioned and the paint, that comes out of that funding. Kind of like something we talked about another day where somebody said, if I'm making $100 a month and I spend $1,000, I lost 10 months worth of cash flow. And that's how a really new investor looks at it. An experienced investor says, if I'm making $100 a month and I spend $1,000, that $1,000 comes out of the money that's being set aside for gross, for repairs and maintenance, and doesn't come from my cash flow.
Mhm.
So to kind of fix this problem going forwards,
Yeah.
add that to the math. If you're going to set aside money for repairs and maintenance and vacancy,
Mhm.
what does your cash flow look like then?
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. And again, I had the luxury of replying, and then he replied to my reply. So I have a little bit of more data here. I've now come to the opinion pretty strongly that at this point, sell the property. All right. There's a couple of things I talked about this week, like one conversation with Omar, and I actually said this in my reply to him the first time, was even guys like all of us, Omar as well, is doing lots of deals. He locked up 7 deals. Then he found like this life-changing deal, and that kind of put him over the top, right? He could juggle 7, but the 8th one meant if he tried 8, he'd probably fail. So our conversation privately on Sunday and then publicly Tuesday was, hey, keep the 8th one, but take 2 other balls, drop them, meaning wholetail them or something else, so that now you're juggling 6, but you keep that life-changing one. What I would tell the individual here today, and he admits it, right? Because I asked him, where's the reserve account? He says he didn't have one. He now does. And the other thing I took away from a reply that's kind of hinted here, but not in details, is if for whatever reason the repairs were more than the 16 or 20K, he has no plan B. And that was the thing. I'm like, sell, learn the lesson. It's a great market to sell in most parts of the country. So you selling now, generally speaking, is a great idea. It's about to be vacant anyway. It's not like you're kicking out a tenant to sell it. So yeah, I think the answer is sell, learn the lesson, have reserve accounts going forward. It's in our spreadsheet, right? He's in our course. So there's a column for vacancy and reserve. So yeah, I think my answer is pretty clear. It just, anytime an investment causes you to lose a second of sleep, your body is telling you something. So what's going on with this individual, that he's clearly calling out for help. Help me. Your internal clock is telling you you have a problem. And I think the answer is get the tenants out, right? It'd be impossible to sell with evicted tenants in there. Clean it up as best you can. It sounds like it's in livable condition, and let another landlord come in. And then he's going to walk away. I don't know. He didn't say, but if he's going to walk away with what, 20 grand in a refi, he's probably going to walk away with 40 grand in a sale, right? Because again, he's probably has 20% equity. So he's going to get that extra, I don't know, maybe 15 grand because they'll have selling costs. So he'll probably end up with 35 grand. And I would take, because again, he has 2 other properties, right? Because this is just one of his 3. I would take, let's say he walks away with 35 grand. I would take 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, put it in that reserve account, like Dion says, make up for the shortfall you've had from the other 2. So you don't have this roof thing. And then, make sure you have that in your calculation. So to answer his question really clearly, given what limited information I have, this is clearly keeping you awake. Your plan B really breaks if all 3, you get a roof and a boiler and this and that, and they all go, and then they cause damage. The whole thing could come crashing down. So my answer is take the hot market, use the hot market to your advantage, and sell. Dion, does that blow you away?
So you're much more experienced than I am, and you know that if you sell, you'll be able to put the money to work. I'm more of the line of thinking of the money that we've spent on the property already is sunk cost.
Sure.
What would the expense be to keep it as a rental, and what has happened to the rents in the area? Because I've used my binder strategy twice this week with existing tenants and had a $310 increase and a $250 increase. So if we look at area average rents based on what he's getting now, if the rents would justify the expense to fix these items and then still have an income, I'm the kind of never sell a property guy though. So
yeah,
you've profited really well from selling and recycling capital. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Okay. And Matt, what about you?
I would sell because, I have no idea what his experience is in the rehab world. And
doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, so that means that you don't even know if you're getting a good price on the roof. I know that for a 900 square foot house, you're probably talking a $6,000 to $7,000 roof.
Probably.
You're probably talking on the furnace and central air. You're probably talking another 4 to 6K swap there, right?
Probably.
And you're talking on the water tank, not a big deal. I mean, maybe $1,000. But then kitchen and bathroom, really nice shape, but
I think the
outdated.
bathroom sounded like it's going to soon.
Roof is the soon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Okay.
new bathroom.
Oh, they're dated. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new bathroom, and the kitchen is dated, but really good condition.
Yeah.
So nice bathroom. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, based on looking at that, for you and for me who do flips, and we could put this thing in a spreadsheet and get this thing churned out in 3 weeks, not a big deal, but we've also got the capital sitting there to do that work.
Right.
If anything goes wrong, I mean, he's 16 to 20K, he's pulling out. He's probably, for those 4 things, you're all of 20K.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And
then
he
you
has
have no
2 other,
backup.
and he has no backup. He has 2 other
Right.
properties that, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I had a couple of properties, it always seemed like something happened here and then it happened there. And then it just compounds. And sometimes you just got to go take a step back to go forward.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right, because he's going to tap into equity that he's not going to tap into otherwise when he sells.
right. Yeah, it's more. Right. Yeah.
Right. So, that he's going to get the 20K from the refinance, but he's probably going to pick up another 20 or 25,000 from selling.
You would think. Yeah.
Right. And so, I think, if the numbers look like that, I would sell and smile and say, I got out and I left something, I didn't really leave a whole lot behind that I wasn't going to have to basically go through, and the right guy will go in there and he'll spend 20 grand. He'll get that all done.
Yeah. And again, it does not make me feel good saying selling. I know, one rental at a time is not one sell at a time.
Right.
I just think in this situation with the limited information I have, when I look at controlling the downside, the downside here is he goes bust.
Right.
That's a pretty significant downside.
Yep.
And I think there are some lessons to learn. And I think, as we've talked about, you sell this, you survived something that could have been bad. then you learn the lessons. You take 10 grand or 8 grand, and that's the reserve. It's some other kitty that you don't touch. And then you start adding to it monthly, and you go hunting for the next deal.
Yeah. I think now it sounds like he's put in place an OSF fund. I call that an oh shit fund.
I was going to say, where's he going with this?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, hey, whatever, what really is bad is when people hurt their business trying to hold on to a single asset.
Yes. It's like,
that's a mistake that people make.
You get your ego tied up in one. It's like, sometimes you just got to let it go. Like I talk to a lot of out-of-state investors who have that. They're almost proud. Like I'm in 12 states. I'm like, all you told me is somebody's ripping you off and you don't know yet. And that's all you told me. Right. Yeah. And they're like, no, we got to stay there. I'm like, how many do you have? One. Well, you're bigger over here and better returns there. Why do you got to keep the one? Well, I don't want to sell. I'm like, I don't understand. You're robbing from Peter to pay Paul. Sell that thing, move on. So that was fun. Thank you guys for doing that. Thank you for being so active in the group, gentlemen. Dion, how can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I'm guest co-hosting a couple of episodes for the Bigger Pockets Money Show. And I'm in the Bigger Pockets Facebook group and the Real Estate Rookie group. So I try to answer every question that comes my way. And I'm really glad that our first topic today was to help somebody in your group and not to talk about the 87% drop in Bitcoin that happened today.
87%?
It was a glitch, but it happened.
Oh, it did. I didn't know. I didn't even hit my radar. That's crazy. And Matt, how can people find you?
I saw that same 87% drop in my real estate unit product. It was just a glitch.
It's a glitch in this system.
Yeah. Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and 11:30 Sunday Eastern time. Another real estate palooza. Looking forward to it. 3 hours action packed.
And Dion, you did your first live yesterday? Or when was that?
So what I learned from the Lumberjack is if you start in the middle of the day, it goes on for 6 hours. So I started kind of in the evening on a Tuesday and everybody had to go to sleep. So it lasted an hour and a half.
Nice. You guys are awesome. And how'd it go? How'd you feel?
It went fine. Really, I wanted to get out there that I interact really well like this because when my memory problems kick in, you guys have picked up on it and you're super gracious and you just keep going on like you don't realize Dion lost his train of thought. So in a live, I don't have that backup and it seemed to go fine.
I'm sure it went great.
I'm sure it was great. And I can't tell anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We're just two sales guys that keep talking. When it's silent, we talk. That's just what happens. All right, buddies. Thank you very much. And look forward to round 2. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm.